It grew when I touched it. Does that mean you like me? Curious alien questions. Human first contact on Kepler Station. Marcus Webb never expected his routine maintenance shift on Kepler Station to change the course of human-alien relations, forever. The veteran engineer was knee-deep in repairing the station's atmospheric processors when the proximity alarms started blaring. Through the observation deck windows, he watched as an unknown vessel approached their remote research outpost. The ship was unlike anything in the human fleet databases. Its surface rippled like liquid mercury, shifting between translucent and opaque as it docked with surprising gentleness. Marcus grabbed his toolkit and headed toward the docking bay, following protocol despite his racing heart. When the airlock cycled open, Marcus found himself face to face with the most extraordinary being he'd ever encountered. The alien stood, roughly his height, but possessed an ethereal quality that made the air around it shimmer. Its skin appeared to be made of crystalline structures that caught and refracted the station's lighting, creating rainbow patterns across its humanoid form. The creature's large opalescent eyes fixed on Marcus with an intensity that was both curious and innocent. It moved with fluid grace, each step creating tiny harmonic sounds like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. When it spoke, its voice carried musical undertones that seemed to resonate directly in Marcus's chest. "Greetings, human being," the alien said, tilting its head in a way that somehow conveyed both respect and fascination. "I am Zephyr of the Resonance Collective. Your species broadcasts such interesting electromagnetic signatures into space." Marcus swallowed hard, remembering his first contact training. "Welcome to Kepler Station. I'm Marcus Webb, Chief Engineer. Are you here peacefully?" Zephyr's crystalline features shifted into what might have been a smile. "Peace is all we know. Marcus Webb, we came because your people's signals spoke of curiosity and exploration. These are rare qualities in the galaxy." As they walked through the station corridors, Zephyr stopped frequently to examine seemingly mundane objects. The alien was particularly fascinated by a simple door mechanism, watching in wonder as Marcus demonstrated how the magnetic lock responded to his keycard. "Your technology is so rigid, so permanent," Zephyr observed, running delicate fingers along the metal surface. "Yet it serves its purpose with such efficiency. How do you create such solid matter that maintains its form?" Marcus found himself explaining basic metallurgy to a being whose own ship seemed to defy the laws of physics. As he spoke, he noticed Zephyr's crystalline skin pulse with different colors, apparently reacting to his emotions or words. "The patterns on your form?" Marcus asked carefully. "What do they mean?" Zephyr looked down at the swirling lights beneath, its translucent skin. "They reflect my internal resonance. Currently, they show curiosity and what you might call happiness. Your presence creates pleasant harmonics, Marcus Webb." The tour continued to the station's main laboratory where Marcus was working on a new type of adaptive hull plating. When Zephyr approached the experimental material, something unexpected happened. The usually inert metal began to glow softly, its surface rippling like liquid. "Fascinating," Marcus breathed, watching his life's work respond to the alien's proximity. "It's never done that before." Zephyr stepped closer, and the effect intensified. The metal seemed to reach toward the alien like a living thing. "Your creations respond to resonance frequency," Zephyr explained. "This suggests your technology has potential for growth, for adaptation. Most species we encounter build only static constructs." As the shift change approached, Marcus realized he'd spent hours in conversation with Zephyr, completely forgetting his duties. The alien had asked countless questions about human engineering, culture, and biology, each inquiry revealing a mind both ancient and childlike in its wonder. "Will you return?" Marcus asked as they walked back toward the docking bay. Zephyr's form pulsed with warm golden light. "If you wish it, Marcus Webb. There is much more I would learn about your kind. You build with such determination, such hope. It is inspiring." As the alien's ship departed, Marcus stood at the observation deck, watching the vessel fade into the starfield. He had no idea that this encounter would soon attract the attention of both species' leadership, setting in motion events that would challenge everything humans thought they knew about first contact. Part 2. The Growing Connection 3. Days after Zephyr's departure, Marcus couldn't focus on his work. The adaptive hull plating continued to behave strangely, occasionally glowing without any apparent stimulus. He'd filed his report with Earth Command, but bureaucratic wheels turned slowly, and he'd received only acknowledgement receipts. When Zephyr's ship appeared again on the station's sensors, Marcus felt an unexpected surge of excitement. He met the alien at the docking bay, noting that its crystalline form seemed brighter, more animated than before. "Marcus Webb," Zephyr said, its musical voice carrying notes of joy. "I have spoken with the collective about your species. They are intrigued by your adaptive technologies and your unusual approach to problem-solving." "Unusual how?" Marcus asked, leading Zephyr back to the laboratory. "Most species we encounter follow predictable patterns. They develop technology, reach space, expand, then either stagnate or destroy themselves. Humans seem to improvise constantly. Your solutions are rarely elegant, but they work, and they adapt." In the lab, Marcus had prepared several demonstrations based on their previous conversations. He showed Zephyr how humans had developed redundant systems, fail-safes, and modular designs that could be repaired or modified under adverse conditions. Zephyr was particularly fascinated by a damaged circuit board that Marcus had jury-rigged, using components from 3 different systems. "This should not function," the alien observed, running delicate fingers over the improvised connections. "Yet it operates at 97% efficiency." "Human engineering isn't always pretty," Marcus admitted, "but it's practical. We build things to survive." As Zephyr touched the circuit board, it began to glow with the same soft light as the hull plating. The alien jerked its hand back in surprise, staring at its fingers with wide, opalescent eyes. "Did I cause that?" Zephyr asked, and Marcus noticed something new in the alien's voice. Uncertainty, perhaps even concern. "You're not hurting anything," Marcus assured. "It seems to be some kind of resonance effect. Your presence activates dormant properties in our technology." Zephyr touched the circuit board again, this time deliberately. The glow intensified, and the device's efficiency readings jumped to 102%. "This is unprecedented," the alien whispered. "Our forms can enhance your technology." Over the following hours, they experimented with various devices. Each piece of human technology responded differently to Zephyr's touch. Some glowed, others changed temperature, and a few exhibited entirely new properties. A simple plasma cutter began producing focused beams of impossible precision. A communication array suddenly picked up signals from previously undetectable frequencies. "I don't understand the mechanism," Marcus admitted, recording everything. "But there's definitely an interaction between your bioelectric field and our electronics." Zephyr's form pulsed with deep blue patterns. "In my language, this would be called harmony of purpose. It suggests our species are meant to work together, to create something neither could achieve alone." As they worked, Marcus learned more about the Resonance Collective. They were explorers and observers, traveling the galaxy to study other forms of life. They possessed technology that seemed almost magical, ships that could reshape themselves, tools that responded to thought, and a form of communication that transcended language barriers. "Your people sound incredibly advanced," Marcus said. "What could you possibly learn from humans?" Zephyr's patterns shifted to warm gold. "You persist. When faced with impossible odds, humans find ways to continue. We have observed your history through your broadcasts. Wars, disasters, setbacks that would destroy most species, yet you adapt, rebuild, push forward. This quality is rare and precious." The conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication from Earth Command. Marcus's reports had reached high-level officials, and they were dispatching a diplomatic vessel to Kepler Station. The message made it clear that Marcus was no longer just an engineer. He was now humanity's primary point of contact with an alien species. "Are you concerned about your leader's arrival?" Zephyr asked, apparently sensing Marcus's tension. "Politics can complicate things," Marcus admitted, Some people fear what they don't understand. Zephyr's form brightened. Then we must show them understanding. Will you help me demonstrate the harmony between our peoples? Marcus nodded, though he couldn't shake the feeling that their peaceful encounters were about to become much more complex. As Zephyr prepared to leave and consult with the collective, the alien paused at the airlock. Marcus Webb, when I touch your technologies and they respond, does this mean your people accept me? The innocent question hit Marcus harder than any diplomatic briefing could have. Yes, Zephyr, I think it means exactly that. Diplomatic tensions. The arrival of the UES Concordia brought both hope and complications to Kepler Station. Ambassador Diana Torres led a team of diplomats, scientists, and military advisors, all eager to study the alien contact. Marcus found himself caught between his developing friendship with Zephyr and the demands of his own species' protocols. Engineer Webb, Ambassador Torres said during their first briefing, "Your reports are fascinating, but we need more data. This resonance effect you've described could revolutionize human technology, or it could be a security risk." Marcus had prepared extensively for this conversation. "Ma'am, in my experience, Zephyr and their people pose no threat. They're genuinely curious about us, and the technological interactions seem beneficial." Colonel James Harrison, the mission's military advisor, leaned forward. "That's exactly what concerns us. An alien that can enhance our technology could just as easily disable it. We need to understand the mechanism before we proceed." Dr. Patricia Kim, the expedition's xenobiologist, had been studying Marcus's recordings intently. "The bioelectric readings are unlike anything in our databases. This Zephyr appears to be a living energy matrix, rather than purely biological. How do we know it's even an individual consciousness, and not some kind of collective probe?" When Zephyr's ship appeared on schedule, the docking bay was crowded with observers. Marcus felt the tension immediately. Instead of the peaceful curiosity that had marked their previous encounters, the atmosphere now crackled with suspicion and barely contained excitement. Zephyr seemed to sense the change immediately. Its crystalline form dimmed noticeably, and the musical quality of its voice carried undertones Marcus had never heard before. "Marcus Webb, your packmates seem agitated. Have I caused offense?" "No," Marcus said quickly, shooting warning glances at the diplomatic team. "They're just eager to learn about you. Humans can be intense when we encounter something new." Ambassador Torres stepped forward with practiced diplomacy. "Welcome, Zephyr. I'm Ambassador Torres, representing Earth's unified government. We're honored by your visit and hope to establish formal relations between our peoples." Zephyr tilted its head, studying the ambassador with those large opalescent eyes. "Your words carry different harmonics than your intentions, Torres of Earth. There is fear beneath your welcome." The blunt observation created an uncomfortable silence. Marcus watched as several team members exchanged glances, their carefully prepared diplomatic strategies crumbling before alien perception that saw through pretense. Dr. Kim stepped forward eagerly. "We'd like to understand more about your physiology, your technology. Would you consent to some non-invasive scans?" "If it brings understanding," Zephyr agreed, though its form continued to pulse with subdued, cautious colors. The next several hours proved challenging for everyone involved. In the station's medical bay, Dr. Kim's scans revealed that Zephyr was indeed a living energy matrix, its consciousness existing within a crystalline structure that defied conventional understanding of biology. Meanwhile, Colonel Harrison insisted on testing the resonance effect under controlled conditions. "The implications are staggering," Dr. Kim explained to the team during a break. "It's not just bioelectricity. Zephyr exists as a stable pattern of quantum interactions. It's like meeting a sentient wave function." Colonel Harrison was less impressed with the mystical aspects. "Can this ability be weaponized? Could they disable our ships, our defenses?" Zephyr overheard the question, its form immediately shifting to deep purple patterns that Marcus had learned indicated distress. "Weapon making is not in our nature, Harrison Colonel. We create harmony, not discord." "But you could disrupt our technology if you chose to," Harrison pressed. The alien's form grew brighter, and for the first time Marcus heard something like anger in its musical voice. Any species capable of space travel could destroy others if they chose. Your ships carry fusion reactors. Your planet has weapons that could sterilize worlds. Does this mean you are inherently destructive? Ambassador Torres intervened before the situation could deteriorate further. Colonel, perhaps we should focus on the peaceful applications. Zephyr, your people's technology could help us solve energy crises, improve our exploration capabilities. What would the collective require in exchange for such cooperation? Zephyr's patterns shifted to contemplative silver. The collective values knowledge and cultural exchange. Your species' persistence and adaptability interest us greatly. We do not trade technology. We share it with those who demonstrate wisdom. And how do we demonstrate wisdom? Torres asked. Zephyr looked directly at Marcus. Marcus Webb has already begun. He approached without fear, showed genuine curiosity, and treated me as an equal despite our differences. His technology responds to my touch because there is no hostility. Between us, only mutual respect and wonder. The statement created a profound moment of understanding. Marcus realized that the resonance effect wasn't just about bioelectric fields. It was about intentions, about the quality of interaction between species. The technology responded because both parties approached it with openness and trust. Colonel Harrison, however, remained skeptical. That's a nice sentiment, but we need concrete assurances. What happens if your people decide we're not worthy of this cooperation? Zephyr's form dimmed again, and Marcus felt a growing sense of foreboding. The alien was beginning to understand the full complexity of human nature, not just their curiosity and persistence, but also their fears and prejudices. The innocent questions were becoming harder to answer, and the path forward was no longer clear. Part 4. Understanding and Revelation. The breakthrough came during what should have been a routine demonstration. Dr. Kim had set up equipment to measure the resonance effect, while Zephyr interacted with various human technologies. Colonel Harrison observed with obvious skepticism, while Ambassador Torres tried to maintain diplomatic neutrality. Marcus noticed that Zephyr's usually vibrant patterns had remained muted since the formal contact began. The alien seemed withdrawn, responding to questions but volunteering little additional information. The musical quality of its voice had flattened, losing the harmonic complexity that had made their early conversations so engaging. The bioelectric readings are inconsistent, Dr. Kim reported, frowning at her instruments. Sometimes the resonance effect is strong, other times barely detectable. I can't identify the variable. Zephyr touched a simple power coupling, and the device glowed weakly. Nothing like the brilliant response Marcus had witnessed during their first meetings. Colonel Harrison seized on this as evidence of deception. 3 days ago, Webb reported, dramatic technological enhancements, Harrison said. Now we're seeing minimal effects. Either the alien is deliberately limiting its abilities, or the original reports were exaggerated. Marcus felt a surge of anger. I documented everything, accurately. The difference is obvious. Zephyr responded strongly when we met as individuals with genuine curiosity and respect. Now it's being treated like a laboratory specimen. We're following standard first contact protocols, Torres replied diplomatically, but Marcus could see doubt creeping into her expression. Zephyr had remained silent during this exchange, but suddenly its crystalline form blazed with brilliant patterns of gold and silver. When it spoke, its voice carried harmonics that made everyone in the room pause. You wish to understand the mechanism of resonance, Zephyr said, addressing the entire group. I will show you, but you must be willing to accept what you discover. The alien moved to the center of the laboratory and began to change. Its humanoid form remained constant, but the crystalline structures within it started rearranging themselves, creating complex geometric patterns that pulsed with inner light. Resonance occurs when consciousness harmonizes with matter, Zephyr explained, its voice now carrying such musical complexity that it seemed to come from multiple sources. Your technologies respond not to my bioelectricity, but to the quality of intention behind our interaction. As it spoke, Every piece of electronic equipment in the laboratory began to glow. Computers hummed with increased efficiency, power conduits sparkled with enhanced conductivity, and even the simple light fixtures became brighter and more focused. Dr. Kim's instruments went wild with readings. Quantum coherence is increasing throughout the room. It's like the electron states are becoming synchronized across different systems. Zephyr approached Colonel Harrison, who instinctively reached for his sidearm. "Your fear creates discord," the alien said gently. "Watch." When Zephyr touched Harrison's tablet computer, it sparked and went dark. The colonel pulled back with an expression of vindication. "You see? It can disable our equipment at will." "Not at will," Zephyr corrected, its pattern shifting to deep blue that Marcus recognized as sadness. "Disharmony creates disruption. Fear, suspicion, hostility. These generate quantum discord that interferes with technological function." Marcus stepped forward, beginning to understand. "That's why the effect was stronger when we first met. We were both genuinely curious, without agenda or fear." Zephyr nodded, its form brightening slightly. Consciousness shapes reality at quantum levels. When beings interact with genuine openness and mutual respect, they create coherence that enhances all their tools and capabilities. Ambassador Torres looked stunned. "You're saying that the technological benefits depend on the quality of our relationship?" "More than that," Zephyr replied. "Your species has developed remarkable technologies despite working against quantum coherence. Imagine what you could achieve with it. Your fusion reactors could be perfectly efficient. Your computers could process information at quantum speeds. Your ships could travel distances that currently seem impossible." Dr. Kim was frantically recording everything. "This suggests that consciousness is a fundamental force in the universe, not just an emergent property of complex brains." "The collective has known this for millennia," Zephyr confirmed. "We search for species that might learn to work with consciousness rather than against it. Humans show potential, but also the capacity for great discord." Colonel Harrison had been listening with growing unease. "So this is about changing human nature? Making us more like you?" Zephyr's patterns shifted to gentle silver. "Not changing, expanding. Your persistence and adaptability are valuable precisely because they are uniquely human. We offer harmony, not transformation." The implications were staggering. Marcus realized they weren't just discussing technology transfer. They were being offered a fundamental shift in how humanity understood its place in the universe. The resonance effect wasn't just about alien bioelectricity enhancing human devices. It was about consciousness itself becoming a tool for technological advancement. "What would this partnership look like?" Torres asked, her diplomatic training reasserting itself. "Gradual integration," Zephyr replied. "Some humans would learn to work with quantum coherence. Your technologies would slowly adapt to consciousness-responsive designs. Over time, your species would gain capabilities that seem impossible now." Marcus found himself thinking about the broader implications. Humanity stood at a crossroads. They could either embrace this new understanding of consciousness and technology, or retreat into familiar patterns of fear and suspicion. The choice would determine not just the success of first contact, but the entire future trajectory of human civilization. The question was whether his species was ready for such a profound change. Part 5. The Choice for Humanity. The emergency session in Kepler Station's main conference room felt like the weight of human destiny pressing down on a small group of people. Ambassador Torres had spent 3 days in direct communication with Earth Command, while Dr. Kim analyzed every scrap of data from their interactions with Zephyr. Colonel Harrison maintained his security stance, though his arguments were becoming increasingly isolated. Zephyr had waited patiently, spending time with Marcus in the laboratory, where they continued their experiments with consciousness-responsive technology. The alien seemed to understand that humanity needed time to process the implications of their offer. "The collective grows curious about your delay," Zephyr mentioned during one of their sessions. "Most species either accept or reject our presence within hours. Humans appear to be deliberating extensively." Marcus smiled as he adjusted a power coupling that now glowed steadily in Zephyr's presence. That's very human. We debate everything, sometimes to exhaustion. It's probably why we survive so much. We consider every angle, even when quick decisions might be better. Your species' caution is both strength and limitation, Zephyr observed, its crystalline form pulsing with contemplative patterns. You survive dangers that would destroy others, but sometimes miss opportunities that require immediate commitment. The formal meeting convened at 1400 hours station time. Torres had assembled not just the diplomatic team, but also representatives from Earth's major governments participating via quantum communication. The conference room displayed holographic images of world leaders, military commanders, and scientific advisors, all waiting to hear humanity's response to the most significant offer in its history. Before we proceed, Torres announced, I want everyone to understand what we're discussing. This isn't just about technology transfer or trade agreements. The Resonance Collective is offering to teach us how consciousness itself can become a tool for advancement. President Chen of the Pacific Federation appeared via hologram. And the cost of refusing this offer? Zephyr answered directly, its musical voice carrying through the translation systems to every participant. No cost, Chen President. The collective does not punish or threaten. We simply continue our search for species ready to evolve beyond purely material technology. But humanity would miss the opportunity, Torres clarified. According to our analysis, the consciousness-responsive technologies could solve our energy crisis, revolutionize space travel, and provide capabilities we can barely imagine. Colonel Harrison activated his display. I've prepared a security assessment. The risks are substantial. We're talking about technologies that require specific mental states to operate. What happens if we become dependent on this consciousness resonance effect and then lose it? Dr. Kim interrupted with enthusiasm that had been building for days. Colonel, the quantum coherence measurements show that consciousness-responsive technology is inherently stable. It doesn't require constant alien presence. Once the principles are understood, humans could maintain the effect independently. General Morrison from Earth Defense Command leaned forward in his holographic representation. What about weaponization? If consciousness can enhance technology, it could also create unprecedented destructive capabilities. Zephyr's form shifted to deep blue patterns that Marcus had learned indicated profound sadness. This fear surfaces in every species we encounter. Yes, consciousness-responsive technology could create terrible weapons. It could also eliminate scarcity, enable interstellar exploration, and create harmony between different forms of life. The choice reflects the species' fundamental nature. Marcus found himself speaking before he realized it. I've worked with Zephyr for weeks now. The technology responds to the quality of intention behind its use. Hostile applications create discord that disrupts the effect. It's self-limiting against weaponization. You're asking us to trust alien claims about limitations, Harrison countered. What independent verification do we have? Dr. Kim activated her research displays. Actually, the quantum measurements support Marcus's observations. Consciousness-responsive systems show decreased coherence when operated with hostile intent. It appears to be a fundamental physical principle, not just alien preference. The debate continued for hours. Economic ministers worried about disruption to existing industries. Military leaders feared being outmatched by nations that adopted the technology first. Scientists advocated for immediate acceptance, while philosophers questioned whether humanity was ready for such advancement. Finally, President Chen called for direct questions to Zephyr. If we accept your offer, what specifically would happen? Zephyr's form brightened with golden patterns. A small group of humans would join with collective members to study consciousness technology integration. Your species would gradually develop new capabilities while maintaining your unique characteristics. The process would take generations, allowing cultural adaptation. And if we refuse? Torres asked. We depart with gratitude for the interaction and continue our search. Your species would develop naturally, perhaps achieving similar understanding independently in centuries or millennia. President Chen exchanged glances with other world leaders before speaking. We need to vote. This decision affects all humanity. The vote was closer than Marcus had expected. 57% in favor of accepting the collective's offer, with significant regional variations. Some nations were enthusiastic, others deeply skeptical, and a few abstained entirely. Torres turned to Zephyr. We accept your offer, but with conditions. The integration must be gradual, voluntary, and transparent. No nation or group can be forced to participate, and all research must be shared among Earth's governments. Zephyr's crystalline form blazed with brilliant rainbow patterns that filled the room with harmonious light. These conditions demonstrate the wisdom we hope to find. The collective agrees. As the formal proceedings concluded, Marcus found himself alone with Zephyr in the laboratory one final time. You knew we'd accept, didn't you? I hoped, Zephyr replied, its voice carrying warm harmonics. Your species shows the rarest quality in the galaxy, the ability to choose growth, despite fear. That is why we believe humanity will flourish among the stars. Marcus looked out at the vast expanse of space through the laboratory windows, knowing that humanity had just taken its first step toward becoming something unprecedented, a species that could harmonize consciousness with technology, opening possibilities that stretched far beyond current imagination. The universe had just become a much larger, more wondrous place, and humans were ready to explore it with their new alien friends guiding the way.